Hey everybody, this is Coach Judah from Enzolo Strength, and welcome back to the Fit Beyond 30 Beginner Strength Series. Very happy to have you guys back, and this is your second workout of the series for this week. Let's get into it. If you just stumbled upon this video and you actually haven't done the previous workouts to this series, this is part of a free workout series I'm posting to YouTube. You can watch the intro to that here, and it's going to tell you everything you need to know about how to utilize this workout series for your own progress and your own strength gains. And just two other short reminders, if you haven't warmed up yet, please go check out the full dynamic warm-up video. This is going to help prep your body for the workout at hand, improve your mobility, make sure that we're not going to injure ourselves, and I highly recommend that you do warm up before doing any weightlifting. Secondly, if you're struggling to read the workout in the description below and that's what you're going off of for this workout, go back to the first workout video, which I can also card up here, and that is where I break down how to read the actual workouts in the description. I talk about things like rep ranges and RPE, etc. So if you're struggling with that, just go back to those videos, check it out, and then come back to this video so you can do your workout. But if you're ready to rock, let's get into it. So we're starting off with 2 rounds of a simple activation superset of single leg glute bridges and a plank. So what we're gonna do for the single leg glute bridge is we're gonna find a position on the ground or a mat. We're gonna lie on our back and we're going to have one knee up towards the chest or leg towards the roof, and we're gonna plant one foot firmly on the ground. We're then going to activate our core, squeeze our glutes slightly and tuck our pelvis up a little bit and drive our one hip towards the roof, squeezing our glute as hard as we can. We're going to repeat this for 8 reps on each side using a controlled tempo of about 2 seconds down and a 1 second squeeze at the top. And you can add additional weight via a dumbbell on the hip if you want to progress this and make it a little bit harder. Then we're gonna head immediately into just a normal plank position from the hands. So in the plank, we're gonna assume a position with our hands under our shoulders, our feet about shoulder width apart, and we're gonna push the floor away from us while keeping the core tight and the glutes engaged. You don't wanna let your lower back sink down here. You wanna actually keep your belly button driven towards the spine and maintain a slight rounded position through the upper back. We're going to hold this position for 15 to 30 seconds. Like I said, it's an isometric, so your goal is not to move. Once you've done both of those, we're gonna rest for 30 to 45 seconds. You can pause the video here while you do your second set, and then once you've done both sets, we'll continue on to the next exercise. As mentioned previously, if you're coming back in your second, third, or fourth week and you want to make these harder, you can easily add a dumbbell on the weight for the hips to make the glute bridge harder. For the plank, you could just add a weight plate on the back, get somebody to help you put that on, or you could also change the position of the plank by going down the elbows or lifting one leg or one arm to add more instability. These would both be good ways to progress and make those exercises harder. On top of that, you could also just add more repetitions. So next we're moving into 3 rounds of a kettlebell goblet squat. For this, you will need a kettlebell. If you don't have a kettlebell available, you can also use a dumbbell, and we're going to be holding the kettlebell up in front of us in a goblet position. There's 2 ways you can actually hold it, either by the horns, which is by the handles, or you can actually hold it by the bell, which is called a crush grip. Both work, and whatever feels better for your wrists, I highly recommend choosing that one so it's not aggravating to you during the exercise. Additionally, if you find that you have a hard time getting deep into the squat, you can also use a slight heel lift using something like a 2.5 pound or 5 pound weight plate just to give your heels a bit of a lift, and this will help increase your ankle mobility and your ability to have dorsiflexion into the squat. Once we have our kettlebell in hand, we're going to assume a hip width position with the feet slightly turned out, no more than 15 degrees. We are then going to grab the ground with our feet, open up the hips gently, and sit back and down between the hips, and then stand up with a little bit of force on the way back up, and then repeat that for 10 to 12 reps. We also want to use about a 2 second on the way down, 1 second on the way up tempo when performing the movement. Once you performed your first set, we can take 60 to 90 seconds of rest and then pause the video and do your other 2 sets before continuing on to the next exercise. To progress this movement, you can simply remove the heel lift if you've been using that in the beginning. You can also just add more weight via a heavier dumbbell or a heavier heavier kettlebell, and that's how I progress this movement overall. If you're not strong enough to use any weight, doing a body weight squat is also totally fine in this instance. So the Kettlebell Goblet Squat is a fantastic exercise to strengthen your quads, your glutes, your core musculature, and actually your upper body a little bit as well, because we are stabilizing the kettlebell in the front rack upper position. You guys are doing great so far. Next, we're moving into 3 rounds of a dumbbell floor press, and this is a classic chest, shoulder, and tricep strength exercise. So let's get into it. So we're gonna need 2 dumbbells, and we're gonna assume a position on our back. You can use a mat if you need a little bit more comfort, but the floor is totally fine as well. What we're gonna do then is we're going to have our feet flat on the ground. We're going to put the dumbbells up over our shoulder joints and have a slight 45-degree angle at the elbows. We then want to retract our shoulders and roll them back and down, feeling a little bit of tension in the lats. We're then going to lower the elbows down, kind of breaking at the elbow, letting the elbows touch the floor, and then we're gonna press back up and in slightly, trying to prioritize using the chest mostly. If we start to round forward here and feel it too much in the front of the shoulder, just think about if you had a Superman symbol on your chest and you were proudly showing it forward, that's the position you wanna have on the floor. You don't wanna be caved in. We're gonna be doing this exercise for 8 to 12 reps using a moderate load, and we're gonna be using a tempo of 2 seconds down, 1 second pause in the bottom, and 1 second up when performing this exercise. Rest for 60 to 90 seconds between each round. Perform all 3 rounds. You can pause the video while you do that, and then we'll see you for the next exercise. If you're coming back in week 2, 3, or 4 to progress this exercise, simply just add more weight, meaning just grab heavier dumbbells. If you guys are enjoying the workout so far and you've been tagging along with this actual workout program, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as we will be releasing more videos just like this. And my goal is to actually make an intermediate and advanced version of these programs, so you have a program to follow and you can get fit whatever your level is for absolutely free. So next we're gonna head into 3 rounds of a dumbbell RDL. This is a fantastic exercise to strengthen your glutes and hamstrings as well as your lower back. To perform this exercise, simply grab 2 dumbbells, assume a hip width stance, and we're going to hang the dumbbells at our sides. From there, we're going to create tension behind the shoulders by rolling the shoulders back. We're going to brace the core lightly, and we're going to push our hips back behind us. We want to keep the dumbbells close to our legs as we're pushing our hips back, and I usually cue clients to not go past just below the knee. So if you reach the mid shin, usually that's going to be a little bit too far to go down, but usually just under the knee is a good spot to aim for, where you're still able to maintain a nice flat back and a neutral spine. Once we reach that bottom position, we're going to forcefully push our legs into the ground while maintaining a nice tight core, and we're going to squeeze our glutes up at the top. Make sure at the top though that we're not overarching into the low back, and that we just stand tall like a tree and squeeze our glutes before performing the next rep. We'll be performing this exercise for 6 to 10 reps at a moderate to heavy load, and making sure that we're using a 2 second down, 1 second up tempo as we're going through this exercise. Take 60 to 90 seconds rest between each round of this exercise. You can pause the video here while you do your next 2 rounds. And once you're done your 2 rounds, come back for the next exercise. Again, for this exercise, to progress it, simply just grab heavier dumbbells each week, or stay the same if you're still struggling with technique and form, but the best way is just to go heavier on this exercise. Awesome, you guys are absolutely crushing it. We're almost to the end of the workout, just 2 more exercises. We're going to move into 3 rounds now of a lat pull down. And the lat pull down is a classic vertical pull exercise that primarily targets your lats and your biceps, as well as your rhomboids and traps a bit, but this is gonna be fantastic to help with posture as well to strengthen your back overall. To perform this exercise, find the lat pull down machine. We're going to assume a just outside of shoulder width position with the hands, and we're going to take an overhand grip for this variation of the exercise. When you sit down, make sure your knees are nice and secure underneath the knee guards. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a slight lean back. We're going to depress our shoulders and externally rotate the shoulders outwards while creating tension through the hands and through the back. Then we're going to drive the elbows straight down towards the floor. We're going to try to aim the bar for our collarbone, and then we're going to control the weight on the way back up. We're gonna be doing this exercise for 10 to 12 reps at a moderate weight, and we're gonna be using a 2 second on the way up, 1 second down, 1 second hold tempo on this exercise. You'll rest for 60 to 90 seconds between each round. Make sure to pause the video here while you complete your next 2 sets, and we'll see you for the next exercise. If you're coming back in week 3 or 4 and you want to progress this exercise, simply just add more weight. You can eventually progress this into a pull-up variation too, maybe like a banded pull-up or a pull-up if you feel like the lat pull-down is too easy, but most lat pull-downs go up to several hundred pounds, so that shouldn't be an issue. All right, and last but not least, we're moving into a tricep rope pushdown. This is a classic tricep exercise. It's gonna train the muscles on the back of your arm, and one that a lot of people do get wrong, so listen up. To do this exercise, we're gonna need to find a cable machine and a rope attachment. We're gonna set the cable machine up at the highest point. We're then going to pull the cable down towards us and keep our elbows directly at our side. I almost say, usually to clients, if someone was to staple your elbows to your rib cage at your side, you wanna keep them there, so no drifting about when you're actually performing the movement. We're gonna assume a slightly bent over soft knee position, and the elbows and the cable should run about in the same line. So if you're looking at the cable direction and the cable of your elbows, make sure that those are in a similar line so that you actually have a good line of pull when you're targeting the triceps. The other thing I like to tell people is to keep your elbow slightly behind midline because your triceps are going to contract a lot harder in that position. Once you have your initial positioning, extend the elbows all the way down. I almost say if you were trying to stab 2 people in the leg behind you with little daggers, that's what you want to think about, and fully extend the arms and squeeze the tricep as hard as you can. That's where the value comes in this exercise, is actually squeezing the elbows and arms as hard as you can with full extension, and then control the rep on the way back up. You'll be doing this exercise for 10 to 15 reps total using a moderate load, and for the tempo, I want you to go kind of explosively on the way down 1 second, hold and squeeze at the bottom, and then control for 2 seconds on the way back up for the eccentric. We'll rest for 60 to 90 seconds before getting into our next 2 sets of this exercise, and please feel free to pause this while you do those sets. To progress this exercise, once again, simply just add more weight to the weight stack, or if you find you're struggling with the actual technique, you can keep the weight the same and just really try to hone in on your technique. Awesome work, guys. You just finished your second workout of the beginner strength series, and please remember to track all of your weights so you can actually progress and get stronger. That is a big thing that people miss, is they just go into the gym and consistently do the same weights again and again, and they don't actually push themselves harder, and that's part of this program. As per usual, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part of this program, and make sure if you have any questions about the program that you do leave a comment below. I do answer every single comment, and like the video if you like the video, and we'll see you for day 3 of the beginner strength series.